Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Crime Centric. This being a show where I talk about crime dramas that I watch. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the latest episode of Bull. So in this episode, it deals with the first start of it all is a teacher named Erin who basically got scammed. Essentially, she bought into all these stocks and everything. It turns out to be like a stock scam. They basically keep referencing the movie Boiler Room, which I guess that's what those are naturally called anyway, because I didn't know that's what they were called. I mean, because it's been a long time since I saw that movie, Boiler Room. They mentioned somebody was in it. I was like, oh, they were in that? Like, I think it had, like, Giovanni Ribisi, and they brought up Vin Diesel, but it's like, there was someone else they mentioned in the episode, I can't remember who was in, but nevertheless, basically people get you, they wholeheartedly push you to buy into this stock and everything, and basically they make off like a bandit and you lose everything. In this particular case, his teacher lost almost $19,000. Well, she lost $19,000, she was only left with like 80 some bucks. It's kind of like her, like, you know, because it was like, you know, they're talking you up and everything and making it seem like, oh, it's a sure investment and stuff like that. So basically, Bull was kind of a little reluctant at first to take the case because he's like, oh, you know, get someone else to kind of, it's like, you know, it's not necessarily what they do. But then he finds out that the people behind it is a big time bank. It's literally one of the top banks in the world or something called Brannigan Trust. And they have like yearly or something like that. They make like a trillion or something dollars or something like that, which, you know, Bull actually banks there too. So basically what it comes down to, what brought his interest in it, is when the guy that's at the head of it kind of makes a mistake and says a slip of tongue, is like, and makes it seem like it's not just Aaron, there are other people too. They end up finding out there's like 4,000 people that at least they know of in this episode that, you know, got scammed by these people and lost like a crap ton of money. And so it comes down to trying to prove that basically these people weren't just, you know, gullible people that got tricked. So many interesting things about this trial. For example, that is one thing in itself, just having to, like, to me, that seems like such a hard thing to really prove, like, that basically someone, like, I mean, being gullible can be held against you in these regards. And in particular cases, Erin, because Erin, it kind of got thrown in her face. The fact is that one of the charities she invested some money in the past turned out to be a scam too. So I was like, oh, so the fact is you were fooled once before. So it's like, this is the second time you've been quote unquote fooled. So, you know, basically the bank's trying to spin it, and the fact is a lot of people invest their money. There's people who've made money, and then there's people who've lost money and almost spending, and they're like, oh, but, you know, it comes down to personal responsibility and stuff like that, which is a key factor in everything. But it also comes down to is the fact is that this is a situation where they push people like, no, don't take your money out yet. Keep investing, keep it there just a little while longer while I'm secretly off selling my stocks and make a boatload of money. So you even had that one lady, Sophia, being very blunt about it and everything. Like, yo, I made like a crap ton of money. And I love the fact is that she's like their star witness because she has such an attitude problem about it. She's like, so how much am I going to get paid for this? It's like, you're not going to get paid for it. If you don't show up, they will, like, you know, officers will come track you down. And as she was walking away, she like kicked a trash can or something. But Bull tricked her into showing up on time, which she was not happy about. But I also like the fact is that Bull wanted to try and manipulate her into like convincing one of the jury members by showing that, like, oh, because like one of the jury members, his name's Larry, he was so adamant, like, kind of had the whole thought process of like, there's no way I'm gonna get scammed. The only people that get scammed are idiots and gullible people. It's like, I'm no idiot and I'm not gullible. But, you know, it was in a situation where she was saying the right things, doing the right things to kind of make him go, oh, no. You have a trustworthy face. You kind of lead the conversations. You do certain things like offering them something, you know, little small things here, and it kind of builds up a rapport, and then like all of a sudden you find yourself trusting this person, which the plan would have went off without a hitch if it wasn't for the judge in this case, who happened to randomly come get coffee, and he saw what was happening. He sees Bull there. He's like, there you go. Because he's had a problem with Bull the entire trial. The fact is he's pissed at Bull. He's like, the fact of the matter is you playing those little mind games of yours. I'm not going to have you come in here trying to disrupt this jury and this case and everything with the way you're doing. The fact is you cheat at things and kind of, at first I was like, okay, like everyone kept asking the question, what did he do? Like Bull randomly jokes about the fact that he's running over the dude. He's like, did you run over his dog? He's like, no, I ran over his cat. I'm kidding. And it's like, did you sleep with his wife? Did you sleep with his daughter? At the end of the episode, we end up finding out, it's like, oh, what did you do? It's like, he thinks I cheated at golf. really him being pissed at you kind of screwing this whole case up for us in a sense, being so adamant and like to the point just kicking Bull out of the trial, even saying like you're kicked out from the rest of it. It's like just because he holds animosity towards it, they played golf together and he thinks that at one point Bull just tapped his foot in. So it's like, oh, you're a cheater there, so obviously you're a cheater in court. It's like, for one, I love the fact it says Kurt Fuller because I just love him in everything he does. Obviously, the most recent thing like I ever fell in love with him for was Woody on Psych. Just loved him as that, and just seeing him in this way, just kind of like which he's played kind of sternish characters. The one in particular was the prince. Wasn't he the principal in the movie The New Guy? With DJ Qualls, had Eddie Griffin, Elijah Dushku. I still do that. Even since Banshee, I don't think I learned how to pronounce her name then, and I think I actually forgot because it's been a little while. But nevertheless, that was just interesting to me that's what this was always about. Because I was like, did you sleep with his daughter and then just like dump her or something, or things didn't work out? He holds animosity. It's like, no, a golf game. It's like, of course, that's what it would be about. But a bit focuses episode 2 is the fact is that Benny is off his game because he's not necessarily following Bull's rule book. Bull's like, oh, we should do this and do this, but then Benny's kind of going his own way about it, like not listening. He's kind of halfway listening, so he's just not necessarily the Benny that Bull normally gets, mainly because Benny's dealing with the whole situation of this Aiden Watkins situation, as we've seen that kind of develop more over the couple episodes. This episode, it turns out the guy was innocent, and the fact is that Benny sent a guy that was innocent to jail for 9 years. Then you had Chunk being like, whoa, why are you getting in trouble? Why is the U.S. attorney like investigating you? What did you do? He's like, I didn't do anything. He's like, the fact of the matter is, obviously, the prosecutor's at the top of the list and everything. Which begs the question, did Benny do something? What I'm thinking more likely is maybe Benny didn't do something. Maybe it's the fact is other people did something and Benny knew, but he didn't say anything because he's like, okay, this guy's 100% guilty. So like, maybe he had his own prejudice and everything. Which, you had the whole situation about the fact is that Benny, there was a particular, like, I don't know if it's this, no, because the way Benny was talking about, this is the guy that he was like, oh, I'm almost 100% sure he did it. But then there was like a case, the reason why he left being a prosecutor was there was a case where it's like there was a guy that he felt was innocent, but everyone else was telling him not, the guy wasn't, innocent. So maybe this is kind of reverse of that situation where he was 100% sure this guy was guilty and went along with something. I mean, Benny's a very honorable dude. I mean, the question is, the thing is, he is now. Who's to say who he was back then? Because for him back then, it seems like winning was all he really cared about. It seemed like the same thing for Bull in a past, which you could argue Bull's still kind of like that too. So, but the fact is, the only person that knows, obviously he brought it up to Aaron, because I was thinking like, oh, the fact is, he's very, like, I mean, he even brought it up himself, the fact is that him and Aaron were kind of clicking. I was like, you're kind of both in a similar situation, because you're dealing with the fact is that, like, something from your past, like a choice that you made, that you thought you were doing the right thing at the time, has come back to bite you in the ass, essentially. And then, other than her, the only other person that knew is Chunk. And Chunk was like, are you going to tell Bull? He's like, basically at the end of the episode, it's like, I'm not going to worry Bull is such a small thing. And Chunk's like, it's not a small thing. This is a pretty big thing, dude. This thing will affect his life, I mean, if they find anything, they could most likely send him to jail for this. If not, basically revoke his, like, law degree or whatever, make it so that he can't do anything, even if it means working with tact or anything like that. So, it is a pretty big thing, especially because as we saw in this case, it is messing with his head because it's coming up and everything. So I'm very interested. Why isn't Benny? I think it might be a pride thing, or it might just be because I feel like maybe if he goes to Bull, he'll feel like he's letting Bull down, because maybe in him, he's like, Bull, when everything was said and done, Bull offered me this job. Because, there was a kind of the whole thing we found out, when his sister popped up in the show, is like, the fact is that his sister wanted Benny to come work with her, but Benny wanted to go out and spread his own wings, which the whole conversation came up of like, oh, did Bull bring Benny along to this team because just so that he could have a win between him and Isabella's divorce, between Bull and Isabella's divorce, which not the case. But it's a situation where it's like, Bull kind of gave him a chance, probably like when no one else probably would at the very, kind of a chance to kind of do his own thing, to, kind of fly by his own beliefs and kind of handle things his own way, help people out that maybe he'd not been able to help out as a prosecutor. So, rather than being more keen to just sending people to jail, now he can help people out. This is what I'm trying to say. So maybe that's one reason, but maybe just in general, he just doesn't want to, maybe he's afraid of what Bull might say or think if he tells him the truth, So, and I guess then you can also look at it as maybe a kind of a defense mechanism where Benny's trying to undermine how big of a situation is, because to him it's like, no, I didn't do anything wrong. But then again, might be a situation where he's looking back in rose-colored glasses being like, oh, I didn't do anything wrong. But then, things start flying up. I'm very curious to see if this is kind of like a season finale type of thing, which I feel like more likely than anything, it'll probably have something to do with Bull. But I'm very curious to see like how, obviously because it seems like this is kind of approaching because they're doing their own investigating right now. And it's just only a matter of time before it pops up, and I'm sure it's going to pop up with Bull finding out through people investigating, maybe finding certain people following him, looking through certain records and stuff. It's like, oh, I have a warrant to look through this and stuff. It's like, about what? Oh yeah, we're investigating. Tell us about Benny. Start asking everyone to attack, and then Benny has to come clean about everything that's coming forward. So, but another interesting element to this episode, besides that being the most, like, obviously one of the most impactful parts of it, was also the fact is that Bull temporarily turned the attack place into a sort of a boiling room type of situation where he made the bets like, okay, so basically one of you is going to have to find me kind of like through all the people, we have to find someone that can kind of represent as our star witness or whatever, and a $5,000 bonus will go to whoever does it. And then it kind of turns into a situation where everyone's like, oh, I got it. Everyone's trying to tear each other's pick apart, being like, oh, this person is this way and that way, and just kind of being like, oh, I got my pick, you don't get to watch. You like turn it into a very competitive situation, which Bull points out the fact is it's a test. No one ended up winning. But the fact is he's like given the right incentive, money. The fact is you told all these glorious positive things about your pick, but at the same time you also like sugarcoated all the like negative stuff and tried to bash each other's with the negative stuff, showing the fact is that can't necessarily like what it means to really put your trust in something or someone, and basically showing how like the brokers did what they did, which that was kind of an interesting thing, kind of seeing how they reacted when it was all said and done, which from my very like vague memory of, I feel like I've seen this pop up in something else. I think it might be White Collar, which I've been seeing that pop up on stuff like Ion lately. I had to go back and rewatch that from the beginning. It's been a long time since I've seen it. Plus, I never saw the final season. Like, I think I saw like 2 episodes of the final season. I'm very bad about that. Like, the same thing happened with The Mentalist too, so I'll probably just restart that from the beginning. But it's like, I always like, because they were the final seasons and I just kept falling behind. And at the same time, it's just a situation. I bring this up all the time. Don't like endings, so I think it was kind of that type of situation. It's kind of weird how I am like that on some things. Other things, I'm just like, because of these podcasts, I'm more accepting of endings in a situation, because it's like, because if I'm covering something, let's take example Grimm. I know I'm kind of getting off book here, but Grimm's series finale is coming up, and the reason why like I'm more okay with just watching it the whole final season has been the fact is I'm covering it for something, so it's more so. It's kind of an obligation because it's like, well, I said I was going to do this, so I'm going to do it. But also just because, it does make me go like, no, I'm going to sit down and do it. I know I don't want to, and I'm a little sad about it. But I guess really a better example would have been Person of Interest, since it does fit, the whole crime-centric situation, because I covered it for crime-centric. But nevertheless, I'm kind of getting super off topic here, so. But it was just kind of, the point was, I thought it was kind of interesting seeing them kind of partying it up, which when we saw Aaron pop in, we did see that was kind of a thing where it's like they were partying it up and everything. And then the moment things started kind of getting serious, they up and left immediately, like, how scams and everything work. What we did see though is that Aaron and Benny did kind of have a thing. Benny pushed her away though, because he was like, no, that's not very professional. The fact is he has to be like, it's like she was taken advantage of, which it almost seemed like Aaron kind of took offense to that, because it'd be like, or maybe you just can't handle it, which is like, might be the face, but might be the case, but I think Benny did the right thing, but still it's like, she's no longer a client, so there's still a possibility. So I don't know if anything between her and Benny will go forward or not. I feel like Benny's just at a situation where, like most people, like most characters in shows, like once stuff kind of start getting serious, they kind of start pushing people away, keeping them at a distance, because I guess that could be another reason why he doesn't want Bull involved, because he knows Bull will fight for him, because Bull fights for everyone, especially those who are important and close to him. Even you could argue the whole Danny situation, and the fact is that there was, when that thing came about, like, oh, Danny, like, got arrested the wrong person, sent him in jail, and now his wife was trying to, like, get them to re-examine everything, which is like, but for Boy, it was more so helping out Danny, making her confront her past, so maybe he'll do something the same, but nevertheless, he does believe in these people, and he does bend over backwards to them, because it's like, I'm making you face something that's holding you back, that obviously this is kind of stirring up some stuff. So maybe he'll do the same thing for Benny. And maybe that's what Benny's afraid of. The fact is that he would go bend over backwards for him, and he doesn't want to put him or Tact in a crosshair. It's like, if this is my problem, I'm gonna deal with it. I don't want the rest of the team kind of dragged into a situation that's solely on me. So I don't know. We'll just kind of have to wait to see what happens in the next episode, where the next episode takes us, or where the story itself will take us, because it might not pop up in next week's episode, but we'll just kind of have to wait and see. But really, that's all I wanted to talk about in this episode. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.